I was promised a series that tackles the themes of identity crisis, structural misogyny, and various spiritual interpretations of the Force within the context of a matriarchal society beyond the public's reach. It's still oppressed by them. Instead, what I got was fires in space.
And that was the pressure valve. I got it.
And a guy who decides to steam his robes in the middle of the living room in public.
Master Salt. Oh.
I'm expecting the women to get their knockers out later. Come on, folks, get them out for the lads.
I would say arguably the gayest Star Wars.
People have told me that it's the gayest Star Wars, and I'm frankly into it.
Oh, sorry. Get them out for the ladies. Now, The Acolyte cost $180 million for the series. That's $22.5 million per episode. That makes this first episode, including the credits and the intro, cost about $9,200 a second. That's at my most generous. That means that this text on the screen costs $230,000.
Oh, that's not how you work it out.
No, but it is the funniest. So this is basically, oh, we're at peace, and some people learned the Force, and then an assassin came. 230 grand's worth of lore there. And we go to the planet Ueda. Is this where all the vowels go that were stolen off the Polish? And we get the tick box.
Not the gayest Star Wars. Not the...
By the way, my clips tend to be around 4 seconds, so every time you see footage, just assume another 40 grand. Although she does stare at this location for 10 seconds, so it's actually 90 grand. We get her walking towards a building. $60,000. Sorry, I'll stop. However, she enters a bar because it's a cantina and they had one of them in Star Wars, and so now we've got a cantina. I'm surprised they didn't go do 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 do. You just have Han Solo shooting someone in the background. It's like, you look like somebody I know. For the first time in a Star Wars show of recent memory, we actually have aliens in it. But she walks up to Master Indara, and it's Trinity. No, I mean it's genuinely Trinity. Leslye Headlands said Carrie-Anne Moss's Jedi Master is very much inspired by Trinity. I wanted someone with the highest status. Oh, that's the most powerful Jedi in the room. That's Trinity. Whatever dark side in the Force is rising in the Acolyte, dodge this. But she tells Trinity,
we have unfinished business.
Look, I know you're taking your clothes off, love, but seriously, we're about 2 minutes in. We understand you're obsessed with your hole, but seriously, put it away. I don't know what you're gonna do with that, love. Take on 2 of them at the same time. But there's 4 fingers.
Attack me with all your strength.
You'd fall over in a stiff breeze. You had a hissy fit over somebody using cornrows.
Doesn't hold back when defining appropriation.
You can't even handle hair. And I'm expected to believe that you can take somebody in a fight. Seriously. You'd cry more than Cutie Gatwa. So the Jedi's like, I appreciate your courage, but quite frankly, you look retarded.
No quarrel with you. Attack me, Jedi.
Sound like a child. Attack me, I'm screaming. Might be the worst casting for a Sith ever made.
Jedi do not attack the unarmed.
I'd remember that one for later, because from what I've heard... Luckily, you're not a Jedi. You're just the random bint who walks into pubs and starts kicking chairs out from blokes for no reason whatsoever. So obviously, the entire bar turns against her when she turns out to be an insufferable prat. And then she started working on the Acolyte. And it's all basic fodder, except none of this fodder makes sense because you've got a 4-foot woman beating up aliens who are far bigger than her. And you're like, oh. But don't worry, because it gets worse. We're about to find out that the fighting style in the Matrix only works in the Matrix because you know it's in the Matrix. And it really had no place here. To throw him that far, she must have used that Force turn into a man. I mean, come on. Are we supposed to believe she's doing Force pushes out of her foot? She was standing still and lifted her she couldn't put any force into that kick. The only thing a 4-foot person doing, kicking someone bigger than them, would be pushing themselves away. Anyway, I have a feeling that'll be the least of my issues. It's nice of him just to stand there while she's flipping him all over the place. How much does that table weigh? But eventually, the Jedi intervenes. And this moment is entirely out of the Matrix. Stop. No, now I must fight you. So her arm starts over here, and she brings it in underneath to stop a fist which hasn't happened yet. And her arm is down by her side. It actually gets pulled all the way back, and she doesn't know where she's going to swing next. But has the time to bring her arm all the way around, up, and under as the other arm is there. So it's like... All of this fighting is the Matrix. I don't put any force into it. I just put my arm, and the moment you hit my arm, it's like a solid wall. I've reinforced my body with the Force. Now, what you see from this fight is she's clearly outclassed. There's no way she could actually assassinate the Master, which is why it's all the more annoying that the Jedi doesn't just kill her. They're trying to kill you, you're defending yourself, it's fine. It's the moral thing to do. But we don't strike them down with a lightsaber, knock them out and restrain them. No, it's all just defensive, and if, I'm just guarding myself and this fight will go on forever. It's really pathetic. Then though, we switch up to daggers. Do a force push, save ourselves the horrors that are about to come, and we continue the twirling.
Who trained you?
Your mom. Then though, she finds out she's a force user. Yeah, that wasn't normal, was it, love? And she takes a hostage. Now, the Jedi, yes, they'll protect the innocents, but they're not like Superman. They wouldn't sacrifice themselves to save one, so this is a bit odd.
Oh, they did it with the Force.
I would prefer it to look less like it was done with wire work, though. Can we still have, like, normal gravity with our jumps? So we just have bigger jumps, stronger jumps, not anti-grav? As she calls, though, I've got an unidentified Force user. I need backup. Save the innocent being thrown off a roof, which I'm sure we'll all wish happened to many characters by the end of this show. And we move to the next stage of the fight. Okay, love, stop dodging the knife and do something about it. I don't know if you're supposed to feel sorry for her, but because she doesn't actually fight, when she clearly outclasses the other person, it just makes you look like an idiot. And eventually, I could be in danger here. Maybe I should do something. I don't even know why you'd do that. Like, you're just fighting with your hands. It's a bit like Ahsoka where he's like, I don't need a lightsaber, I can just use my hand. Okay, so why'd you keep losing? Folly twists here to have the knife exposed in her hand. Take the knife off her. Instead, what do we do? So why did I grab and grapple you then? Why am I walking towards you at all? Eventually, she gets the upper hand as if, well, I could do this to you now, and you should do. There's no reason not to. Instead,
I'm going to pull down your mask and go, oh, I know who you are.
You.
I never recognized you because your hair is so common across the universe. Everyone wants to look that stupid. It's really popular.
What are you doing here?
To be honest, love, I'm asking myself that same question.
I'm here to kill you.
No. This reminds me so much of my favorite Starship Troopers line.
Why did they kill us? Ah!
They want us alive.
Whereas in this, we get,
What are you doing here? I'm here to kill you.
That's why I've been stabbing you with knives.
Oh no, force push. Are you here to make me toast? Do you just keep missing the bread? I can't work it out. She's quite powerful in the Force. For some reason, Jedi didn't protect herself against it. Don't know why. Don't know why it wasn't used before. However, she decides to use her daggers at long range. And that's the bit we've seen previously. It is even worse than anybody thought. So you have daggers being thrown at you. Does the lightsaber deflect them because they resist lightsaber damage? Well, they better, because otherwise it would melt the steel, and now you'd have molten steel flying at your face. The Acolyte decides to do it the third way, the worst way. And be like,
Oh, it cut them and they ended up on the floor.
how does that work? You have the momentum of a dagger being thrown at you. You cut it in half, and that stops the momentum of the dagger? They're not swords. We didn't interrupt them or stop their energy or anything. We just cut them in half. How did they fold? How did they stop moving? And why did nobody in the scene go, hang on, what's happening? Also, what pose are you doing? You threw the daggers and they've had time to travel, and you're still in the pose. You went, whew. Do I look cool? You're still in the pose! I'm surprised we didn't cut back to her still in the pose.
You do not want to go down this road.
Yes, she does. Melt her face off. She's already gone down the road. I've always been fed up with this Star Wars. You can come back. No one's too far. Yes, they are. That's what a lightsaber is for. When Darth Vader went into an engine, he got what he deserved. Oh, you can come back. No, he can't.
This is a fight that you will not win.
Of all the lines that couldn't be more wrong.
A Jedi doesn't pull her weapon unless prepared to kill.
I don't even know what's that meant to mean.
You pulled your lightsaber. Are you trying to kill me?
You've told her you're doing it to her. That's called self-defense, love. That's called justice. The only thing we should see in the rest of the scene is melted brain matter. But for some reason, that makes her think, oh no, I shouldn't do that. Why? Use your lightsaber to melt across her body, ho ho ho, motherfucker, or just faffo. However, she secretly grabs another dagger behind her back, which shouldn't be secret. She's fighting a Jedi Master who's more powerful than her, so she should be able to sense it.
My spidey sense is tingling.
And they find out the barkeeper's decided to stay. I don't know why. Was someone particularly thirsty for a pint of cider or something?
I can't leave this place. Someone might steal my turnips.
Please, no. Not anyone but the barkeep. How else am I going to get my Romulan ale? So very predictable. She goes for the innocent person. We get a forced pull to save it rather than just a push and protect ourselves because we know the other person has a dagger. We know they're trying to distract us. And she's like, no. And she gets a knife through the heart. All very predictable, all very obvious, something she shouldn't have fallen for, unless it was a conscious decision that I'm going to sacrifice my life for this guy who basically just serves me beer. It only makes sense if it was a deliberate my life for yours, so family member or a Padawan of hers, rather than making her look like a stupid idiot. Even she looks surprised that it works. It's like, I didn't think you were that stupid. And that's coming from me, and I'm just standing here with my arm out for absolutely no reason whatsoever. I've already thrown the knife. I'm not sure why I'm still like this. The lightsaber was a good point, actually. Oh, no, this little dagger kind of wipes one out in one go, but she could have got stabbed with a lightsaber, and she would have been fine. No wonder she's using knives. And I love the attitude in the standing up. It's like, huh, that'll be the last time you insult my hair. As she's walking off, I half expected her to go, you go, girl. Why did you do that? If ever that happens to me, and for some reason, without my heart, I can still look around at people, I'm definitely throwing up the V's.
What were his last words? Well, they called me a slur.
And we get, oh, is she going to choose the lightsaber or a steel dagger? Are you going to get the others? I don't know if you've noticed, love, you've thrown quite a few. Might want to get them as well. Honestly, I'd take the lightsaber for lulz. Great for making toast with. It's a lot slower than a normal toaster because the plasma doesn't have the energy of a bit of wire with some electricity running through it, as we've seen in things like Ahsoka. But it is cool. And then in this, ooh, everyone's morally grey. We don't have light or dark. Good and evil don't exist. Universe. She goes to kill the barkeep. He hasn't done anything. And no, you can't use he can identify her, because so could most of the bar, and they all run out at the start, and she ain't hunting them down. Wasn't just gonna fetch her knife. She's like, oh, I'm gonna get you. But then she sees that he's a single father, and the child reminds her of her, because they look the same. I remember when my eyes were that far apart too. I almost got a role in The Little Mermaid. And she's like, well, as you've got a kid, I'll leave you alone. Because it reminds me of my childhood trauma. See how much the logo cost. 9 seconds there, so about $82,000 for that logo.
And there have been some recent deaths due to the major incident, but that's over now and everything's fine.
Over now to the other twin. And you know it's a twin, because she wakes up on a spaceship. She has a little droid friend. And strangely, exactly the same hair as her twin, who's across the other side of the universe. No, I don't know how that can happen either. I can only assume it's some form of quantum entanglement between their hair. The thing is, this already disproves the whole idea, from all the positive reviews, that Leslye Headland spins a compelling murder mystery. Because we already know who the murderer is, and we know who it isn't. I tell you what, Inspector Poirot this isn't. Either way, she plays around with a robot for a bit. That's not a euphemism, although I don't know if he has one of those attachments.
Whoa, inside voices.
He wasn't even shouting, love. Have you ever considered teaching him how to speak English? But at that moment, a red alarm goes off. However, we also know something's gone wrong because...
Sounds like we got a job.
She tells you. Then we meet her friend, who has possibly the worst accent for a Star Wars episode I've seen.
What's up? Why didn't you come out last night? You missed a wild trip to Nashadar with the piloting crew?
Yeah, why didn't you come out on the tiles? We could have got some road cones and stuck them on our faces. His accent completely pulled me out of the episode. I'm like, that isn't Star Wars. Why are we speaking like it's 2023? Either way, she ends up on the outside of the ship to do a shield generator repair. Now, I've seen the episode. I don't know why any of this is happening. It has no narrative purpose. Although we do get to see her nav boots, which is a step up from Ahsoka, who can apparently just float along in space wherever she wants, I guess. We even see her hook on. So I do give them bonus points for that. And we get some lore spoken at us.
Their grease grubbers are disposable.
Yeah, they value droids, not humans.
Philip, clearly disposable, but me, on the other hand, come on.
I know that's supposed to be a joke, but this is Disney. They will think that way. But she goes to fix the ship, and for some reason...
I'll hold it together.
Wait, the pressure gauge is spiking.
Causes a massive explosion on the ship. This is why he should have been the engineer. She's there trying to bypass the compressor, and he would have done it properly. Instead, now we got a massive fire on the ship in space.
And that was the pressure valve.
I got it.
You got it? You're the one who caused it, love. Where's the oxygen for it? Is this why all the spaceships make noise in space? Is space full of oxygen in Star Wars? Quick, someone ask Kathleen Kennedy. I'm sure she'll know. So we walk over to fix this problem that we caused, try and fix another problem. Sees, I don't know. Is she meant to think these look like eggs or something? Or is it just I have no idea. Either way, there's something getting to me. Help me, I've got childhood trauma and I can't act, so I'm just standing here.
Stop messing around, Osha.
Luckily, the man snaps her out of it. It's like, can you just do your pissing job and stop worrying about your emotions, you silly cow? This is why we have blokes doing this stuff. They don't get distracted by their fifis. You're an adult, get over it, love. At that moment, a spaceship flies in. Jedi. We know they're Jedi because they go...
Jedi?
Thanks for that, love. Wait 5 seconds, we could have worked it out ourselves, but luckily you told me first. And so we get another bloke with very weird hair, and a woman whose species seems to have evolved a crown built into their skull. The crew lie about having them on board because apparently under Republic law only robots can repair the outside of a ship. I don't know why, you've got safety guidelines and magnetic boots. Also, if they fly off your ship, you can fly to them and pick them up. Not as if it's dangerous. Being on the outside of a spaceship is dangerous for us, not when your spaceship can move wherever it wants. Oh, they've gone off again. Don't worry, we'll just go over there and pick them up at the cargo bay. Anyway, through their poor understanding of space technology, for some reason it's illegal.
The Republic has legislated that...
I don't care about Republic legislation. I really don't. This is a Star Wars thing. Hits on with a lightsaber, but he walks up and intimidates him by holding up his fingers. What are you gonna do, mate? Do a bunny rabbit behind his head?
Sublevel. Bunk 23.
Luckily, they're scared of bunny rabbits.
No, don't ruin my selfie.
And he's like, haha, I tricked him. I'm a Jedi and therefore couldn't have done anything to you anyway.
Thank you for your cooperation.
After that, Random Bint goes back to a bedroom and finds him waiting in it. All in all, very creepy. I sat on your bed and posed so I could look as creepy as possible when you entered the room. At least this time when someone walked into a room, he actually had his kit on. We find out though he became a Jedi Knight 2 years ago and there's some kind of hint that there was something going on with them-ish.
I never thought that I would see you again.
At least from him. Because we know her and we know Disney, and so the only way any of that would have happened is if there was a personal assistant involved. Thing is though, as she walks away to her table full of tools...
Your old friend a visit.
He reaches for his lightsaber, which, to be fair, is a far smarter move than anything we had from Trinity. They start questioning her about stupid things like, when did you become a mechanic?
Look, I was trained to be a Jedi. When that didn't pan out, those skills aren't exactly transferable.
And we find out why later. Trained to be a Jedi and had skills. I'd love to know what your Jedi skills were. The only use you'd be to the Jedi Temple is if you were making them sandwiches. Look, they said we had concerns when they turned you into a Jedi. You were too old and you were in mourning.
You lost your entire family. Your mothers, your sister, your village.
Yes. All that was just dumped at you in one go.
Your village all died in the fire before Master Soul brought you into the Jedi.
Really reminds me of something, actually.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
Don't just love it when somebody's backstory is just told to you, as if it's a TV series desperately trying to catch you up on the previous 4 seasons. Also, I don't know if you noticed something weird there.
You lost your entire family. Your mothers.
I'm sorry, was that plural?
Your mothers.
Are we just changing the English language again, or do you mean there was no father involved? Did they buy her off eBay? Did a stork bring them to them? It's like trying to bang 2 USB-C connectors together. I don't even know how that'd work. This is Disney Star Wars, though. Sure, they'll find a way. Foreshadowing! Well, they tell her last night a Jedi was murdered, and you meet that description.
You think that I killed her?
I love the fact that they got your description. I'm sorry, but they look like they're from a 90s boy band. Is hardly going to narrow it down across the universe. How'd you even track someone down with a description from across the universe? Oh, they're a big fan of curtain tassels. Or carpet tassels, I mean.
Well, we were looking at inspiration and we found it.
What could be more Star Wars?
I want it to look like a carpet.
Where were you last night?
On this freighter.
Right, do you have an alibi for... Yeah, the ship. How fast do you think you can travel?
I think I can go across the universe in 20 minutes and come back
before you arrive here. How did you even arrive here in time? Are you telling me someone got murdered across one side of the galaxy, it got back to the Jedi Temple on another, and you managed to fly to a third bit in like 12 hours? Okay. Does distance not exist in this universe? Or can we teleport? But she says, yeah, I wouldn't even have a reason to kill Trinity.
Master Indara advised the Jedi Council to discontinue your training.
Why would I kill Trinity? I mean, it's been years. And also, you are forgetting one vital piece of information here.
Leaving the Jedi was my decision.
So why would I care?
Oh, somebody wanted you to leave. I wanted to leave, though. I agree with them.
And you were there at the time. You'd know this. We were friends. I would have spoken to you about it. Mr. Jedi, why are you acting like you have 5 IQ?
No one else's.
And he's like, yeah, that is part of my memory. I don't know why I couldn't recall that before you literally told me.
I think I'm capable of overpowering a Jedi Master.
Actually, when you put it, no. I thought it was stupid when the other wench did it, to be honest.
Oh, when I see her. That's her!
Of course, they get the pub landlord in.
He's like, that's her. I saw her.
She killed the Jedi and ruined.
Ooh, is this a murder mystery? Or is it simply her twin?
It doesn't matter what I think.
Because I've got dangly bits. So they put her in handcuffs and for some reason take a little droid friend. I don't even know why. Is this like taking her laptop so you can search it for evidence? I don't know. I mean, it's a robot. It helps her do mechanic stuff. Who knows? But they put her on a prison transport and looking at him, you'd think that guy is a lot tougher than he actually is. This is a fully droid-operated ship. I don't know why. The Jedi can go with her. Wouldn't the Jedi guard a Jedi as they went somewhere? They just murdered a Jedi. They have a reason to guard this ship. Then though, we get the scene from the trailer that everyone's seen.
Oh, close your eyes. What do you see? I see fire.
Your eyes can deceive you. We must not trust them.
Yeah, don't trust your own eyes. Trust what an authority figure tells you. Don't think, just believe. In though walks Leslye Headlands' wife.
I see fire.
He's like, ooh, she's gonna be evil. Do what they did in the Disney sequel trilogy and just try and strike her down immediately. We don't want any of that trouble. We've seen what happened last time. And he goes to talk to the missus.
So, my dear friend.
I'm glad you said that because otherwise I wouldn't know any kind of relationship between you as you're showing absolutely no emotion. My dear friend, okay. Shouldn't be able to tell that by the way you get on? No. Oh, hello, Steve. You're my best friend for the last 5 years.
How lucky these younglings are to have such a compassionate teacher.
That'll explain why you sound so enthusiastic.
I'm the fortunate one to be taught by them.
Wait, what? You must be an idiot. You're getting taught things by 4-year-olds. I'm surprised you've been able to survive till this age. If a child is able to teach you anything. Whenever anyone goes, I learn things from kids, I'm like, what a loser. If he can learn things from kids, imagine what it must be like when he meets a normal adult. It must blow his mind. Oh, you know things.
You were so shy.
How can I be of service?
Guess nothing's changed. You were so shy. Oh. How can I be of service? Just gets me the deadpan delivery of every line, though.
I remember when you were that small. You were so shy.
I remember when you were that small. You were so shy. This is the acting quality that we have in Hollywood now. I got paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for this series, and this is the grand total of emotion that I can put in my voice. But she tells him that you used to be friends with Trinity. I'm so sad. And we have her suspect in custody, a Padawan that you trained.
I see I have underestimated your attachment to her.
I didn't actually expect you to be able to act. Nobody else in the series can. Though he says she was a devoted Padawan, she wouldn't have killed Trinity.
The evidence against her is strong.
Yes. One guy in a bar said she did it. Oh, this is a thrilling murder mystery. It's a watertight case. He said he saw you. And despite the fact that you have an alibi and you're in a spaceship that was so far away and had no means of travel away from that spaceship you were on to the planet where the woman was. Despite the fact that you killing her was physically impossible and you have a ship full of alibis. No, this barman said you did it. Oh, how did she phrase it?
The evidence against her is strong.
Watertight, love. Watertight. Indubitably, my dear Watson. But he says she wouldn't kill Trinity. Me and Trinity saved her life. We saved her from a fire. She saw us as her protectors. And then we get the threat. Ooh, the Jedi aren't good. Look, we've brought security in this tiny little woman. That's going to threaten you, isn't it? And I mean it seriously. She walks in, she looks at her as if, now backup's arrived, I can get to the real meaning behind this meeting.
If it were to become public that a former Jedi killed one of our own.
That's a nice Jedi Master title you've got there, isn't it? Be a shame if something happened to it.
Our political enemies could use it against us.
Discretion is important.
Otherwise, I'll set the little terrier on you. She'll start biting your shoes and pissing in your slippers.
Despite your feelings for this girl, do I have your support in this endeavor?
You better have your support, otherwise I'm gonna set that one on you. She may not look threatening, but she is amazing at using her lightsabers on your ankles. Only place she can reach. But he's like, no, of course you have my support. He was probably intimidated by the tiny little person. We see the droids flying the prisoner ship, and she's behind bars, which look remarkably similar to her hair, actually. This guy's screaming and wiggling and has something on his mouth because he's a dangerous criminal, and that's their way of restraining him and making sure that he actually can't do anything.
Is it hurting him?
Well, I mean, if it was, it sounds like he had it coming.
No way, he's having a great time.
Hardly sounds like a punishment, really, does it? It's like, stick one on me, love. Let's have a party.
It does weird stuff to your brain.
I'm glad you put so much thought into what this parasite does. The lore description we get is, it does weird stuff. Ah! That'll go on the wiki. Either way, they ask her about having killed a Jedi, and if she wants to escape, we can hack into the pilots, and once we do that, we can get off the ship. Are you in?
You'd rather leave your fate to the Jedi.
Yes, I have faith in the Jedi.
Oh, that's because she doesn't realize the Jedi are secretly evil. Oh, Leslye Headland's complex layered narrative. Well, okay, you don't want to help us? Enjoy prison. They signal that guy to hack the pilots. You know he's hacking them because his face mask changes colors. And they shut off so the ship comes out of hyperspace. into the middle of an asteroid field. This is like in Star Trek Discovery, where they came out of a wormhole and then hit another ship. Do you know the odds of just randomly coming out of space in the middle of an asteroid field? Space is big and almost entirely empty. Well, that's gotta sting. Having smashed into half the universe, they set about their escape. The droid becomes unstable and starts wobbling about because his motors aren't even as good as those by Boston Dynamics. And this guy's face opens up. And at this point, I'm like, what's the evolutionary reason for that? Is he going to paint the town red and his wife white? I need to know. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, but I think we've just found the evolutionary purpose. So after he rips the droid's face off with his dangly bits... I mean, that is strong. You've got to give it to him. That's powerful enough even the Coven of Witches wouldn't say no to it. They rip off his arm and use the arm to free themselves from all the jail cells, before freeing the other guy that helped them from the other cells.
Can you give me a hand?
What, a backhand? And because she wouldn't help them, he runs off and leaves her there to die. Probably the best bit of the entire episode and the perfect narrative. You get what you deserve. Clearly, they're the good guys. After that, they all leave in an escape pod and the ship continues careening into a planet. Luckily, her droid falls on the floor. Yeah, I don't know about that, love. Do you think your arm is Stretch Armstrong? If I just force long enough, I can make it go another 20 feet. That's across the other side of the pissing corridor. I'm amazed my arm won't extend. Go, gadget arms. And she realizes, hang on, I'm a trained Jedi. I must be an idiot. Why didn't I do this before? And so obviously she reaches out, as she is a trained Jedi, and just uses the Force to pull it to her, as any even basic Jedi could do.
Oh, I've got to focus on it and think about it because it's really difficult for some reason.
Despite the fact I'm trained. She said she left the Jedi Order 6 years ago and she joined it when she was 8. So she's 25. 6 years ago, 19. She trained to be a Jedi for about 11 years.
I can't even use the Force.
Mentally deficient, I tell you. So this goes on for a long time of just like,
maybe I could use the Force.
Oh no, I'm asked. Yeah, I forgot I can't use the Force. In fact, I trained in it for 11 years. What do you mean it was your choice to leave the Jedi Order? You can't even use Force pull, you useless cow. You must be the most pathetic Padawan to have ever existed. Luckily, though, it just happens to get knocked next to her, and so she can escape. That was lucky. It is rather horrific, though, how she escapes. Because, remember, this is supposed to be her friend. She rips his head off! This is meant to be merch. You're supposed to like the droid, and the first thing she does to him is rip his picking head off. That's horrific! We never did that to C-3PO, unfortunately. Thing is, as she escapes, she sees the violent criminal.
Oh, I can't leave him.
So she tries to pick him up, but obviously, she's a tiny little person, and he's too heavy, because he's a man. Now's probably a good time to remind you of how her twin sister had superhuman strength. Like I say, unless we want to say that she's force pushing out of her feet, none of that was possible. Thing is, though, she decides to turn her friend's head into a cattle prod. And just, like, electrocute him until he flies out of a window. It escapes into the vents like something out of Alien. And then he wakes up, obviously. He's a violent criminal. What are you doing? Hey, I don't know what that parasite was doing to him, but that must have been some good stuff. Like, literally, the moment he comes round, he's still on the trip. You're insane, love. I don't know what I've just experienced, but it was horrific. He was having a great time with the thing on him. He wakes up, sees your face, he's like, ah, and runs away. The correct attitude to meeting that character. Yes! I think we've discovered the hero of our story. The one that locked her on a ship about to crash. Get what you deserve. So he escapes in a pod, and she crashes. Now, there are no pilots, and spaceships, not aerodynamic. There is no gliding them through the atmosphere unless you've got engines. And so that would just basically crash into the planet. So at this point, her only plan is to strap herself like cargo. Yeah, she does really struggle to pull that seatbelt up on one side, though. I don't know why. This goes on for a remarkably long time. I think it's to increase tension. It increased my confusion, but not tension.
Oh, I can't pull it. I'm too fat.
Look how long we were struggling to pull that thing. That got cut into 2 different scenes because she was tugging it for too long. Probably shouldn't do that on camera. Eventually, though, she manages to work out how a seatbelt works, and we crash into the planet. As I said, spaceship doesn't glide in the air. It's not aerodynamic. That thing would be tumbling and all kinds of stuff. It's got no engines, but this does a remarkable glide for something that can't glide. You couldn't wish for better if a pilot had actually flown it, and one didn't. That was lucky. Back at the temple, and he's talking to his Padawan.
Why do you keep old hollows of your former Padawan?
Well, that might be a complicated answer to the question, but it's because it's in my former Padawan. Jedi were allowed to actually care for other people. Oh, you can't fall in love with... Yeah, but they still wanted to protect their Padawans and stuff.
Just sentimentality and nostalgia, and both of these emotions can lead to...
The dark side. Nostalgia leads to the dark... What? Oh, if you have memories, it leads to the dark side? Have you ever seen a retro game come on a more modern platform and thought you might buy it? Well, you're evil. Have you ever looked back on the games of yore, like Deus Ex, and thought, yeah, those were the days. Gaming was better then. Well, you're evil. This basically seems to be the message that anything that isn't modernity, well, it's not progress, and that means you're evil. Do you realize the common sense fact that things used to be better? Well, you're evil. But he just basically does the whole boomer thing. If you don't remember history, you're doomed to repeat it. But you only have to look at California to realize that it doesn't matter whether everyone remembers something. They still want to try it again. Over now to their jail, and it turns out they've captured all of the criminals.
It was the Jedi killer! She orchestrated the whole thing!
And they're stitching up Amandla. Seems like a smart thing to do. But then we go over to the violent criminal who, well, this includes the worst ADR I've ever seen in my life, because none of this makes sense with what we saw. So I think they're desperately trying to improve the moral message by changing what he said.
The Jedi killer is evil. I sensed her.
I sensed the darkness of the Jedi killer, and that's why I ran away. Remember that? Because it's not what he's about to say in about 5 seconds.
Beware.
Quiet your mind and
tell me what you know.
She helped me, and I betrayed her and took the last escape pod.
What? I betrayed her? You had a parasite on your face that was giving you a trip. You woke up with no knowledge of what was happening, panicked, and ran out. You had no idea what she was doing. You didn't know she helped you. And you would have still had whatever that thing was doing to you going through your system. You were out of your mind and you were like, I betrayed her. You couldn't. You weren't in any capacity to think logically in order to betray. And yet, I betrayed her. And remember, that's 5 seconds after him going,
The Jedi killer is evil. I sensed her darkness.
Which one is it? Did she help you and you betrayed her? Or was she evil, you sensed her darkness, and so you panicked and run for your life because you knew how evil she was? Those are two entirely different situations, which he said back to back, literally the next sentence to each other. This is insane, and there's a reason for it. For one of them, you can see his face when he's talking, like normal in a television show, when we filmed what we said.
She helped me.
But the next bit is going to all be ADR from behind his head because he didn't actually say it. And what I want you to do is listen to the words as you watch his mouth move up and down.
And I betrayed her and took the last escape pod.
He says way more words. Look at the bit after he says, I betrayed her. He stops talking. His mouth keeps moving.
And I betrayed her and took the last escape pod. Betrayed her.
Is he eating at the same time as filling in this line? I'd love to know.
The last escape pod.
That is wild, ADR. You might as well have just had him when he was just standing there not saying anything, rather than actually having a talk over nothing. So in other words, the whole I betrayed her and took the last escape was nonsense. They wrote it afterwards, which is why it doesn't make sense compared to what he said 5 seconds before and the actual events of the television show that we know and saw happened. But no, we've got to make him look like the bad guy rather than actually making him look reasonable. But he turns around as if, see, she helps him.
It doesn't clear for Indara's murder.
No. Thank you for explaining to me how cause and effect works. Oh, well, future deeds don't change the ones she did in the past. He, though, asks if he can go and look for her. Says, I need to go. She's alive. I can feel it.
I'm afraid I cannot afford to lose you to a field mission, Saul. Far too valuable here.
Oh, that's unfortunate. You're just too valuable. You have to stay here. There's no other option. We need you. Something horrific will happen if you're not here at the Jedi Temple. You're a vital part of this thing even existing.
I trained her. It is my failure. Let me take accountability.
I'm sorry, mate. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you trained her. You're too vital. We need you here. There's no other option.
Small team.
What? You're vital to the running of this place. But I trained her. Okay, just go then.
I'm afraid I cannot afford to lose you to...
I trained her.
Small team.
How does this make any sense? You can't go. It's impossible. 2 sentences away from going, okay, you can go. What was the point of this? Proving that she's a terrible leader and doesn't deserve a position because she's incapable of making the correct decision? Which one was the wrong one? If it was the first, why did she make it? If it was the second, why was she so easily convinced? You're an idiot.
May the Force be with you.
She evaded! She said something Star Wars! I'm just surprised she didn't say live long and prosper. But somehow, Amandla survived. I don't know how, because she's not actually tied to that chair anymore, which means that must have snapped off and she was just flying around the ship. I mean, look, there is no chair anymore. And they got obliterated and she was tied to it. Was her bones of steel. The snow coming through a hole in a ship so she won't survive long. And also, I hate it because it reminds me of Doctor Who. Walking into the ship though, she hears alien noises. Which you would assume is that little parasite thing going around that survived, which I fully expected it to jump on her. She does, however, see a dark figure in the doorway. At this point, I thought the thing had jumped on her and was just giving her hallucinations, because it walks off and she follows it. I'm like, okay, it's all in her head. And when they arrive at the ship, they'll find her with the thing on her face. Because she chases it outside, while in the Jedi Temple, they set off to travel. And again, time, distance, absolutely zero part in this story. Just assume that every scene is running instantaneously, because the writers seem to. So he is steaming his robes.
Master Soul,
Put on some pissing clothes. Bring a second robe to wear when you're steaming the first one.
I thank you for choosing me for this mission. I should have brought Osha in myself.
Actually, mate, I'm not going to choose you for it anymore. I didn't know we'd invited a pervert. You could have done that in your own room. You decided not to. Get off.
We leave in 5 minutes.
I will redeem myself.
How about you start acting like a professional? Don't pat his shoulder, mate. You don't know where he's been. And she basically speaks for, like, Leslye Headland.
You'd put your clothes on.
Seems like a fair response. Do you understand the people that will be watching this show? They're not interested in that. Neither was the old audience, but especially not the new one. They just like banging USB-C ports together. So they leave and basically instantaneously travel to the correct destination because she starts running across the planet, chasing the little being in front of her. Oh, look, it's Mini-Me. And now I'm like, okay, that thing is definitely on your face. You're hallucinating Mini-Me. I keep expecting you to ask for $1 million.
And she's like, oh, it's me.
Except for some reason you haven't aged, and so it can't be you. That would be my first response if I landed on an alien planet and started seeing weird kids. And then the environment started changing around me. You could have at least filmed this in a real forest.
No, we're going to CGI trees. Trees don't exist in California. Just hobos. Addicts.
She sees a vision of the forest burning. It's my childhood trauma. And that is why she couldn't use the Force earlier, as explained by Amandla herself.
Like, she doesn't express her feelings very well, and that's her core wound, and why she sort of cannot figure out how to connect with herself. That's her spiritual block. And her path is how to unlock that spiritual block.
Because what you really want in a TV show is all about her feelings. And then, because she's blocking her feelings, she doesn't have any power. But if you become an emotional wreck and just keep spewing your feelings all over everybody and make everybody attempt to try and fake caring about them, then you too can be a Jedi. Your feminine power is in your emotions rather than a thing to be controlled, like an adult. So they start doing a rhyme. Oh, I'm with you, you're with me, I'm one and you're two. I don't care. It's really stupid. She runs through different environments, all of them CGI.
As above sits the stars, below lies the sea. I give you you,
and you give me me.
This is Doctor Who all over again. I'm not one to castigate, but you're someone I want to defenestrate.
And then we turn into a kid ourselves.
And by this point, I am full in on... She's definitely hallucinating because of the thing on her mouth. There's no other explanation for this, except that she's a nutcase.
You remember me? Is it really you?
Is that you? Have you teleported back in time and appeared to me as a child? Somehow have you managed to teleport across the universe as your 20 years younger self? Testosterone alone should have told you that this was a bad idea.
Yes.
And she's like, I thought you were dead. Did you kill Trinity? Yes. And then her eyes turn a demonic black. But remember, she's not evil. There's no such thing as good and evil. There's only a weird grey mix of morality, and that's why I have demonic black eyes. But then she wakes up. Still in the ship with the droid next to her, and still not tied to a seat. All of the old criticisms still apply. And we still didn't have the parasite on our mouth to give us hallucinations.
You wouldn't believe who I just saw.
You had a dream, love. You were literally unconscious sleeping, and you're like, oh, I saw pictures behind my eyes. That's never happened before. I don't normally have an internal monologue. I've never had a dream before. Buddy Crew asked him, how did he know the person we're hunting? Oh, well, I was stationed on her planet, and I saved her from a fire that her sister started. Her entire family family died, but we took her and trained her as a Padawan. She had a twin sister. And he's like, oh, what? I never knew she had a twin sister. I was doing a murder investigation, and if you told me that somebody that looks exactly like her had existed in the universe, it would have made a lot more sense.
It's not in her file.
Why? That's odd. Is it because the Jedi are evil? No, because then they wouldn't be Jedi, they'd be Sith, and that wouldn't make any sense, would it? And so it begs the obvious question.
Do you think that...
No, May is dead.
Oh, okay. That puts that then. I mean, you can feel one, you might be able to feel the other. And I'm sure you have some kind of proof of how she's dead, right? Like, you must know.
I saw her die.
Oh, well, there you go. She definitely can't be alive because you saw it. You saw the proof with your own eyes. So it would be impossible for her to be alive then. So they leave and he decides to do a bit of acting. I don't know why we had to squint her eyes a bit more, mate. Bit of a weird choice, wasn't it? And they arrive on the planet before she's even managed to leave. They've traveled all that distance in space, and she's like, oh, that was fast. So seeing a ship is coming to save her, and she's on a snow planet with no escape. She runs! You're gonna get hypothermia, love. A cell is far better than hypothermia. You can't live here. That ship's your only chance at survival.
There's no way she could have survived this.
That's what I thought, but have you considered magic or bad script writing?
Clearly someone's been here, Yord.
Scavengers, Padawan.
Oh yeah, someone's already scavenged the ship. I'm definitely correct. Scavengers came here.
No, Fjord, you're being an idiot. Because I've got no dangly bits, and that means I'm smarter than you.
No, I am the smart one, as I get it wrong. These people have the subtlety of a tornado. He, though, senses her, and so decides to follow her. As she starts running through the snow again, I'm amazed she can see anything in that snow, to be honest. It's a blizzard on a snow planet, and you're running. She knows exactly where she's going. Into a cave made of polystyrene. So he tracks her down through the Force. I'm hoping that's the explanation, because otherwise, yeah, I've got nothing. And going inside the cave. Ooh, you know what that means.
A Jedi doesn't pull her weapon unless prepared to kill.
He's getting prepared to kill somebody. Or it was dark in the cave and he wanted to see. I'm not sure. Maybe he was preparing himself in case of an attack. All of these explanations don't mean, I want to kill somebody. But, you know, bad script writing. Speaking of bad script writing, she finds the end of the cave. And it's a sheer drop, which for some reason she decides to look over. I don't know why. I think it's because she's an idiot, as she almost falls over it on her own. At this point, definitely using the lightsaber for light, rather than because he wants to kill somebody with it. I tell you what, that Jedi Master, look, he's bloodthirsty, he's got his lightsaber out. I'd be careful. But then, they see her.
Stop! In the name of the Republic and the Jedi Order!
Stop! In the name of the law!
Yes, we get the reference, love. And at this point, I was just thinking, where do you think she's gonna go? Do you think she's got wings? Now, she's an idiot, backing up to the edge. I don't even know why she's doing it, apart from the fact that she's as clever as they are.
Step away from the edge!
I don't even know why we're on an edge.
They think I did something to somebody, okay?
But even if you didn't, why are we on a cliff face?
Believe me, I did.
Stop backing up, you useless cow!
Push up!
Literally just falls off the edge. Why? Why are we moving? They're not moving. You know there's a cliff edge there. Stop walking backwards. Wasn't even deliberate. She's just that stupid. Either way, she's held by the Force before being yoinked back up to the top by somebody who's sensible and has dangly bits.
May is alive.
I believe you.
Why? You said this literally 5 minutes ago.
May is dead. I saw her die.
How is she alive? You saw her die with your own eyes. That's what you told everybody. Some random bint that can't even stand on a cliff without falling off it tells me something that I've seen is wrong with my... I mean, no, love, I saw it. Let's face it, I've got 2 brain cells. That's one more than you. After you fell off the edge, I'm questioning the one. And so she goes with them as the Acolyte walks a beach.
The Jedi live in a dream.
Yes, it's this really, really bad voiceover. The Jedi live in a dream. The dream is that nobody can kill them, not with anything. They believe everybody shares this dream. The dream is that if you attack a Jedi with a weapon, you will fail. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a lightsaber, whether it's steel, you will always fail.
Steel or laser are no threat to them.
And you're like, okay, so she disproved the dream because she did actually successfully attack one. Great. Except he even contradicts that.
An acolyte kills without a weapon.
No, she used a dagger, mate. No, she did it with a weapon. She literally threw it at her. We saw it.
An acolyte disproves the dream because she doesn't use weapons.
Yo, she does, though.
An acolyte kills the dream.
The dream that she killed was that you wouldn't die to steal. And she's like, well, you will if it's my steal. Not without a weapon. And why have you pulled your lightsaber out? Do you need light? I'm so confused. He doesn't even do anything with it. And then we get the credits. Now, you know how expensive this show is. The credits go on for about 4 minutes out of a 41-minute show. That means that 240 seconds at 9.1k a second, those credits cost $2.2 million. Oh, a bargain at twice the price. I just can't work out why Disney Plus isn't profitable. $11.5 billion in the hole. I don't know why.
Can we pay $2.2 million to put some text on a screen?
Yes, actually. But having seen episode 1, the best one of the series, obviously, because that's how you make a series. Your intro is the best because you've got to hook people into the series. So it's definitely the best one. And I'm like, why would anyone watch this? It contradicts itself. Everyone's an idiot. We know they want to make the Jedi evil, so they're not even understanding the lore of Star Wars. And while I was watching it, I was looking at that clock. It's best that Trinity's gone because her Matrix fighting style doesn't fit in Star Wars. It just looks stupid. And actually stands out against a lot of the other stuff where the aliens look decent. Some of the sets look decent until you get to things like the forest scenes where you're obviously on like the volume. And I don't think we live in an age where you should CGI trees. But with terrible acting and nonsensical plot, a badly paced episode, and one that really didn't provide much entertainment value at all, combined with a series that tackles themes like identity crisis and structural misogyny, and spiritual interpretations of the Force of a matriarchal society that's oppressed, even though it's outside of their reach. I am looking forward to the rest of this series. Not so much for the episodes themselves, just because I have fun making the videos. It's quite frankly taking the piss out of this stuff. It's far more fun than watching it. And I have heard that episode 3 is going to be a banger. So with that, let me know your thoughts down below. Like the video if you press like, subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. But for now, that's it from me. Bye-bye.